In this video, I want to show you how to solve matrix algebra using Gauss-Jordan method. Before that, you have to know that there are three elementary row operations. The first one, interchange two rows of a matrix. Now let's say we have this matrix here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 9. So this is 3 by 3 matrix because there are 3 rows and 3 columns. Okay, and the first one here is row 1, second one is row 2, the third one is row 3. So interchange two rows of a matrix means, for example, you interchange between row 1 and row 2. So the first row become the second row become the first row. So you will have 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. The third one still the same. Okay, second operation is multiply a row of a matrix by a non-zero number. For example, you want to multiply half to the first row here. So we write as half row 1. Okay, so it become half, this one become 1, this one become 3 over 2. The third one, adding a multiple of one row of a matrix to a different row. So it's actually from the second one here. For example, half row 1, which you get from the second step here, plus row 2. So you change row 2. This will be the new row 2. Okay, now I will use example 15 from the module. Let's say you have 2x plus 3y equal to negative 1, 2x plus y equal to 5, x plus y equal to 1. So first you have to change this to the metric form. Okay, so this one we will write as 2, 3, 2, 1, and 1, 1. Okay, 2, 3, 2, 1, and 1, 1. Okay, then you have to put a line to separate this with this part here. So over here you will put negative 1, 5, and 1, which is from here. Now we want to solve this using Gauss-Jordan method. So the first step, okay, it's always our aim to have identity, but in this case, because this is 3 by 2 matrix, so you cannot get 1, 1, 1 in the diagonal because there are three rows here. So okay, the first step is to make this equal to 1. Okay, the first one here equal to 1. So we want to change this to 1. How to change to 1? There are two ways here. It's either you interchange this with the third row because there are 1 here, or you can multiply the first row by half. So if you multiply by half, you will get 1 here. Okay, so let's see, because we already have 1 here, so I will just interchange row 1 and row 3. Okay, so row 1 interchange with row 3, so row 1 become row 3, row 3 become row 1, so row 3, 1, 1, 1. Row 2 still the same, it's not changed. And row 3 is now, row 1 is now row 3. So 2, 3, and negative 1. Okay. Now we have 1 already. So this is what I call the leading entry. Okay, it's 1. So once you have the leading entry, if you refer back to the property of reduced matrix, once you have the leading entry, the other two in the same column of the leading entry must be 0. So this must be 0. This one also must be 0. Okay, so I will show you one by one. So how to change this to 0? It's always best to base on the leading entry. Okay, now we want to change row 2, right? The second row here. So I will put row 2. And if you see here, it's always adding. So plus. Based on row 1, because we already changed row 1. So row 1. But because it's 2 here, so if you simply put R1 plus R2, you will get 3. You won't get 0. So what should you do is multiply the first row by the negative of this number. Okay, so it's 2 here, you multiply by negative 2. So you see negative 2 row 1, negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus row 2. Negative 2 plus 2 will give you 0 here. Okay, so row 1 still the same, 1, 1, 1. Only row 2 change now. Negative 2 row 1 plus row 2, so negative 2 plus 2 will give you 0. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 1, you get negative 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 5, you get 3. Okay, and row 3 also still the same. Okay, now we have 1, 0 here. So the next one is to change the third row here to 0. So same method here. It's also 2 here, just like the second row. So it should be similar operation. Okay. So again, we want to change row 3. So row 3, it always adding. Your leading is still row 1. And since it's 2 here, so you put the negative of 2, the negative of that number, meaning that if it's negative here, you will put positive here in order to cancel. Okay, so we change row 3. Just now we changed row 2. Okay. So we change row 3. Row 1 and row 2 still the same. So 1, 1, 1, I will just copy again. Row 2 is 0, negative 1, and 3. And now row 3 become negative 2 row 1 plus row 3. So negative 2 plus 2, 0. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 plus 3, you will get 1. Negative 2 times 1 is negative 2 minus 1. So it's negative 3. Okay. So now we complete with the first row and first column. It's 1, 0, 0. You move to the second row now. Now second row, it should be in diagonal form. So the next one to change is this one. So we want to change this to 1. Again, there are two methods to change here. If you have other rows below that row with value of 1, you can just interchange. If not, you can multiply by a non-zero number. In this case, it's either you interchange with row 3 or you can multiply the second row by negative 1. Okay, if you multiply by negative 1, you will get 1 here. So let's say I just multiply by negative 1. But again, you can also interchange. So I will put negative 1 times row 2 or negative row 2. So we just change row 2, row 1 and 3 stay the same. 1, 1 and 1, 0, 1 and negative 3 still the same. Now just multiply negative 2 to the second row, so 0 is still 0. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1, and 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. So we got the leading entry for the second row. Once you have leading, these two must be 0. Same column as the leading should be 0. So we change again one by one. Okay. So how to get 0? Again, same like this. You want to change row 1 now, right? Based on the leading. So it's always adding. Your leading is now row 2. And since it is 1, so you just put negative 1. So you see, negative 1 plus 1 will give you 0 here. So we just change row 1, row 2 and 3 stay the same. So let me just write again row 2 and row 3 first. Okay. So negative R2 plus R1. Negative 0 is 0, plus 1 is still 1. Okay, it shouldn't change actually. If somehow, when you do this, the value that you already change to other numbers means your operation is not right. Okay, by right it shouldn't change, it should still be 1, and you don't have to calculate actually. Okay, negative R2 plus R1, so negative 1 plus 1 you get 0. Negative 3 is 3, 3 plus 1 you get 4. Okay, so the next one is to change this to 0. Again, because you have leading, so the rest in the same column of the leading should be 0. So how to change to 0? Should be similar to this one. Okay, so you want to change row 3, always adding based on your leading, which is row 2. Okay, you're leading for this one. And it is 1, so you should just multiply by negative 1. So we change row 3. Row 1 and row 2 is still the same, so I will just copy 104, 0, 1, negative 3. Okay, so negative row 2 plus row 3, again as I mentioned, by right is still 0, but you can always check that